over 6 weeks, I 180x my investment. The $1,200 investment turned in a little over 50K. NFTs are more than just like monkey JPEGs. There's this cool underlying technology of what it's really about. And that was December 2016, and I was fresh out of jail and.
So I usually do a little bit more prep. I was hoping you had a YouTube and I could dig through stuff, man.
Oh my bad.
I was trying to do some, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, to say my YouTube is out of date. I really haven't got down on there since probably like 28. Or I did a video actually last year on there, but like, dude, I'm just so active on NFT Twitter, and I'm trying to start building a TikTok. So that's kind of where I'm focused at right now.
Okay, word. Yeah, dude, TikTok's been great for me
Oh,
for
really?
building a following on there. Yeah, man, something like 800,000 views in the last 60 days right now.
Damn, that's
Yeah,
sick.
man. If you get good on that TikTok game, it's great traction over there.
Damn,
Great
I love it.
traction. Yeah, the
Yeah,
YouTube Shorts.
I got to experiment with it a little bit then, obviously, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And doing the live calls on there probably work out really well too. Surprisingly well. If you're already doing it on Twitter, I'm still learning some stuff technically because I know some people can do them both at the same time. I haven't figured out how to do that though. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's the nature of the game. So, so can I want to hear about? I know on your Facebook it says crypto hustler since 2017. Is that what I read? Or 2018?
Yeah, 2017.
2017. Okay, so you're doing a lot of things from what I was seeing, and crypto coffee I think is just one of them. Like, can you give me what's the gist of what's your hustles in? What other
Man,
things you're working on?
so is this recorded or is this like pre-interview?
This is all recorded. I just hit and we just go.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry.
no, yeah, so for sure, I just like to know where to start, right?
Right.
So I launched my own project actually December 31st of last year. We launched on New Year's Eve, and it was a stealth launch because that was kind of what the cool thing was then. And we
Yeah.
minted out pretty quick, over 72 hours. We minted out 700 NFTs. Being kind of we were crypto guys launching an NFT project, and we had a cool idea, so it went successful. We 10x'd, almost overnight, and then we kind of. I was never big on NFT artwork. I've always been big on the utility, like what's it do, you know?
Yeah.
And so we were like, hey, we just threw some art together when we had a cool idea. So we wanted to reward our holders with some cool artwork. So we dropped the second collection for free, which was the inverse business model of our first one, which we can get into that later too. And so that collection actually went to a higher floor price than the first collection. So our mentors had about 16x their investment in about a month or so, a month and a half. So I've been really big into play to earn gaming since about April 2021. I've been big with play to earn gaming, and so I had a great idea, or what at least I think is a great idea for the crypto version of Monopoly. So we put it together, reached out to Hasbro about sponsorships, and put our mint together and everything. And just to be totally transparent, we bit off more than we could chew. I let my overwhelming confidence in myself, believe that we could get it done. So we went back to the drawing board, and we kind of figured out, yeah, we did create a cool project and provide some value for holders with, being able to make money off it. But like the best thing we did was our crypto and coffee, which was something we kind of started by accident, because almost like 90% of our holders, we onboarded to NFTs. Like we were the first NFT they had ever bought. So we would do these daily morning shows, and when it first started out, it was just like 12 of us, and just educate people on newbie stuff. And then we migrated to Twitter, and then next thing now we're getting like 3,000 live listeners a week, and so we're like, dude, this was the best thing we did. Why don't we revamp everything, roll it under coffee and crypto, and just have DAOs within our DAOs, and reach into all the areas of Web3 that we know and love. So this coming Saturday, we're actually releasing the first piece of our coffee and crypto collection, and this is kind of how we're bringing everything together, right? We had this this first collection that we dropped that was just kind of like me and friends of friends doing something that we thought was a good idea, and then it expanded. And then while we were going back to the drawing board, we kind of accumulated this new community via like crypto Twitter and coffee and crypto, you know, via our coffee and crypto. And then in that process, we came across a project called Saudi Monkeys, and they had been rugged. And you know, I just like to challenge myself with shit. So I'm like, hey, let's just derug them. And like for those that are listening that don't know what a rug is, that's when like the founders run off with the money. And this particular project, it was ran by some 16-year-old kids, and like I'm bullish on young builders. So we had bought a couple of the monkeys, and the kid, one of the kids had lost their entire treasury in a coin flip game. So we were like,
Holy
yeah, let's
cow.
derug it. And so that's honestly one of my most proud accomplishments of this year. We've been able to 10x the floor price of it the past, 5 weeks, derugging it. And with this coffee and crypto collection, we're bringing everything together, right? Our original collection, our coffee and crypto community, and this project we've derugged is all gonna come together by the end of it.
That's awesome, man. Dude, that's a beautiful story too. I think it like perfectly embodies how you have to be and just in the crypto universe, like that a flexibility. Okay, this happened by accident, but it's awesome. Let's go all in on it and just pivot and go. Like that
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
yeah, that's awesome. That's the way you got to be, though. I love that entrepreneurial spirit. So, what is the process for like derugging that coin, just bringing the community, revamping the community, or walk me through that, because I'm brand new to the space. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, every derug's different, but um, in my opinion, the key is to establish some new value and new identity to the project, and that's really what we did since we had our morning show, and we knew we were still, about at least a month and a half away of having our artwork ready. We're like, hey, we'll make this the official collection of our morning show. So like, boom, that's automatically some value right there because you're kind of making a community interested in it. But since we host a thing called Shark Tank every Saturday, it's the only day of the week we let projects come on, pitch us. We dig in, we ask the hard questions. A lot of
Oh,
kick people off stage sometimes.
yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love to have you on as a guest judge this week if you're free Saturday. I've heard
Oh,
you
yeah.
listening, but I've seen you listen, but I'd love to hear your input on stuff. Um,
I'd love
but
that.
sweet, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's
So
do it.
we have a lot of projects that they offer us NFTs and whitelist spots via, because of our platform. And I'm not I don't consider myself an influencer, right? I only got a couple thousand followers, but like most influencers, they keep that shit for themselves. And we're like, no, man, we're gonna drive it back to the community. So every week we run a raffle and we give away like 10 to 12 Solana worth of NFTs and whitelist spots and stuff like that. And we gave away an NFT a couple weeks ago that it ran up to 12 Solana itself.
That's
So what
awesome.
people do is they can get these monkeys. The Saudi monkeys was a collection that we derugged, and they send it to the burn wallet, and then that's their ticket to the raffle. So we found a way to increase the floor price and then burn the collection, drop the collection size. So the floor price is going up, the collection size is going down, as basic supply and demand. And that's been our method of driving value to these. And yeah, you can get them for just a couple bucks, right? Like when we first started derugging them, the collection was 0.02 Solana, and like one whole Solana is worth like 34 bucks right now. So like 0.02 was
Yeah.
literally just a couple bucks, and now we got them back up to 0.2 Solana. So it was a 10x, but still 0.2 Solana is just a couple bucks. So if you like the raffle, or you want a low entry chance of some NFTs or a chance to get some whitelist spots and stuff like that, you send them to the burn wallet. So we've done a good job of actually burning down. And then another method we use is we have show sponsorships. Projects come on, we'll let them get a co-host spot once an episode. They get together 1 minute elevator pitch, and field questions, and I'll give them a shout out when we reset the room. Well, we take a portion of those funds and we sweep and burn monkeys too. So as long, kind of like owning monkeys is like, hey, if you believe in coffee and crypto, and it's going to be around and there's probably going to be sponsors, it's safe to assume that the floor price is going to go up because there's going to keep being sweeps towards it. And then our first sponsorship, we took 100% of it. Well, we took like 30% and swept and burn monkeys. Then we took 30% and put it in a margin trade, which you're familiar with,
Yeah.
and got it in an ape trade. And so now we have an ape trade going, and we're going to take a portion of those profits and do another sweep and burn, and then we'll just keep the trading budget for the monkey burn going, and we'll go from coin to coin and shit. So like we just find creative ways to drive value, and it was never like, yeah, this is going to be the best project in the world, this and that. It was just like, hey, some people got fucked. What can we do to help them out and have some fun and maybe save somebody's month or even year, you know?
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I like that. Yeah, bringing the community together as well, kind of bringing them back from the dead. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Okay, so this Shark Tank idea that you kind of breezed over, that's on Saturdays where you do that and you have a bunch of projects come on and pitch you. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. I
Yeah,
love that. I love that concept. I'm also a big fan of that show.
yeah, me
Yeah,
too.
yeah, Kevin O'Reilly and everything. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. So how long have you been doing that?
So we've been doing that since actually the beginning of it, right? And kind of to air our dirty laundry and just be transparent, right? Because we're not
Yeah.
perfect. We've had some good ideas. And like that's the one thing we've had some good ideas. We've had some bad ideas. We tried it all. Some doesn't, some work, some doesn't, but we pivot and move forward every time.
Yeah.
Um, but we kind of had some controversy in our community because I took 17 days off to go to Vegas and play the World Series of Poker, and our community manager started running the show, and he tried to take it as his own, and we're like, no man, that's just what you were paid to do while I was gone.
Yeah.
And so like the split came because like we originally were going to charge for Shark Tank just so we could pay our community manager. Again, like me and my partner Christian, he's a clutch lad. We uh we don't really do this for the money. Like we make money in Web3 off trading, farming, this and that. Like we just try to drive value and do fun shit. And so we were actually going to charge projects to come on the Shark Tank because we had a platform, and at the end we pick one to buy. So we're going to invest in your project, and then if we buy something, our community usually buys too. And the whole reason was going to be to pay our community manager. And so then when he tried to take the show as his own, we are like, yeah, we're not doing that. So like that's what kind of sparked us off to kind of go
Yeah.
110% into this and make it kind of our baby again, and really have kind of like the week honestly kind of leads up to the Shark Tank, because every day we provide massive value, and then these projects come in and they want to share what they're doing, and it's like, cool, you can share what you're doing, you can share some cool stuff, but don't say anything about your project in particular. I just want to hear cool stuff that you think is cool about the ecosystem. But on Saturday, that's your day to come back. We'll dig in. We'll ask you all the hard questions everybody needs to know. We'll pick a winner, and then we buy one at the end. So it's kind of like you can teach a man to fish, or you can give him a fish, right? So we give you a fish at the end of the episode. We're buying one, and I'm good at getting all the projects to donate to our giveaway. So usually, you got a chance to
Yeah.
pick up some fish, just being there. But then we teach you how to analyze these projects and our thought process, and how to ask the hard questions, and the type of questions we want to know, before we invest in a project. So we teach them how to fish, and then we give them a fish at the end too.
That's awesome. That's super cool. That's a brilliant idea. I
Thank you.
really,
Thank you.
really like that idea.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
looking
that's
forward to having
cool.
you on, man. It'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be a ton of fun, man. I'm super pumped. So, okay, so I want to back up real quick because I want to know how did you get in the crypto space? Because if you're 2017, you're pretty early to the real like everyone mainstream, or as mainstream as it's gotten so far. But you're really pretty early there. I mean, it's not like '08, like the inception of Bitcoin or anything like that, but you're still really early. Were you in NFTs already at that point as well, or what's
No, so what's funny is I thought NFTs were dumb until last year. And like
okay?
most my movement nowadays is in NFTs. Like my biggest bag, full disclosure, is Bitcoin, because I think that's like I mean, there's no thinking, it is the granddaddy, right? But
All right.
um yeah, so I got in, I got kind of a crazy story. And you're from St. Louis too, so we got to link up.
Yeah,
Um, but
absolutely.
I grew up in South City, which you're probably, and I know your listeners are probably worldwide, but I grew up in the city, kind of in the hood, and then I had friends outside of the city in an area called St. Anne, and I sold drugs from 15 to 20 just because I've always been an entrepreneur. But when you grow up in the hood, the first entry level entrepreneurship there is selling drugs. So
Yeah.
that's what I did. And
Yeah.
so and I was a successful drug dealer. But I sold drugs from 15 to 20. When I was 20, I got caught. and these cops beat me up, took my drugs, and let me go. So I thought I got robbed by some crooked cops. Well, from like 18 to 20, me and my friends would always play little house poker games, and I was always just better than everybody else. And I was a few months away from turning 21, so I was like, I'm just gonna play poker. And so I spent the next couple of years playing poker full time, and that's when any idiot could make money, playing poker and shit. But I was playing poker full time, and then my past kind of caught up with me, and I had to go do some time in jail and all that good stuff. And when I got out, I got in the door to door, and I was playing online poker still, and then online poker got banned. And all my friends, we used to kind of travel together in packs for tournaments and stuff. But all my poker crew, they all moved to Mexico, and I couldn't go because I was on probation. Well,
Wow.
I ended up getting deep into sales and got offered a promotion to go to Florida. And it was my first chance to make 100 G's, running sales teams in a year. And again, full disclosure, poor kid from the hood, that was all the money in the world to me back then. So I took it, and I was actually on probation at this point in time, flying back and forth between Florida and Missouri for appointments and shit.
Holy
And
cow.
my ex-girlfriend saw on Facebook in 2016 that I had a baby with another girl, and called my PO and told her I was working out of state. So I actually got extradited and did 6 months in jail again. And when I got out, I was essentially broke and building back up. But I ran into one of my poker buddies around Christmas who was home, and he's like, "Man, did you hear about Bitcoin?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I heard it hit $100, but it's probably never going to go any higher." And he's like, "Dude, it hit 1,000." And I was like, "Holy shit!" And that was December 2016, and I was fresh out of jail and just had just got back in the knocking doors. So like every day for the next 6 months, like back then, there weren't guys like you creating content, or guys like me that were hosting Twitter spaces. It was like guys in forums talking about stuff. So I went to the poker forums because poker players were actually some of the first people to send Bitcoin back and forth, because poker players always owe each other money. And it was the cheapest way to send back then. So I went to the poker forums and read every single post up until that day of Bitcoin. And it really got me dialed into the market, because I was able to see how people acted during the bull time, how they acted during the bear time, what the FUD was. And it was the same shit over and over again. And so like it
Yeah.
made me feel really comfortable in Bitcoin. And so like it was June 2017. I got my biggest door-to-door paycheck ever at that to date. At that point in time, it was like 10 G's. So and Bitcoin was like $2,600. So I bought a Bitcoin, and it was the first investment I ever made. And so like I'm watching it while I'm knocking doors, and it's going up like 30, 40, 50 bucks, 100 bucks. I'm like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing ever. And then it runs up to like 3,000, and I think I'm brilliant. And then a week or two later, it's back to 2,600 bucks, and I still had some of that paycheck left. And I was like, I'm not going to do the thing I normally do and just blow it on something stupid. Or vacation. I was like, I'm going to buy 2 more Bitcoins. So like I grabbed 2 more Bitcoins, and then I grabbed an Ethereum for 240 bucks, and I grabbed like, I want to say Litecoin was like 30 bucks. Then I grabbed like 10 Litecoin, and I told myself I wasn't selling that bag for at least 5 years, and that was a bag I never got rid of. And you kind of see how I am on social media. When I get excited about something, I talk about it. So I was posting about Bitcoin, and every day I'd get like 3 messages, and people would ask me for help. So I decided I was going to start a private group, and I started a group called Crypto Hustlers, and I took on 100 clients within 40 days. And then it eventually turned into a mastermind, to where we were all invested in nodes together and flipping them and doing really well. And the bear market came, and I got offered a nice chunk of money to, somebody wanted to buy the group out from under me. So I took it and stepped away. And then when 2020 came back around, a few guys reached out to me and asked me to start something up again. And, I enjoy teaching and helping others be successful. So that's kind of how I started my second private alpha group, which I still have going right now. And then that led into our first NFT project, and kind of like the whole wraparound of how I got into NFTs and crypto in
Yeah.
general. We were investing in a lot of coins early, and then somebody smart, because I thought NFTs were dumb, but somebody I knew was smart, or I thought was smart, was investing in NFTs. And I was like, dude, this guy's not an idiot. But like, and so I started researching, and I came across a gaming NFT. And so now it made sense to me. I was like, because before I was always like, why would anybody want digital art? That just don't make no damn sense. And but then I found a gaming NFT, and I'm like, oh, so I can create an NFT like, you know, that's a fighter, and then I can create him another NFT that's a sword. I can send him to go fight some monsters, and when he wins, I earn crypto. That makes perfect sense to me. So I got in a game called Crypto Blades, and over 6 weeks, I 180x my investment. The $1,200 investment turned in a little over 50K, and then I was making like $500 a day just like clicking buttons for 45 minutes, and that made perfect sense to me. So then I started getting involved in a lot of gaming NFTs, and we did very well in them. And we were like, hey, we know how to spot good coins. We know how to spot good projects. We're probably better at tokenomics than most of these people that are releasing projects. Why don't we start our own? And that's kind of how we came into the space. And I was running a solar company last year, and the first project was supposed to just be something for me and my alpha group, and then our friends of friends, essentially. But then, like, the next thing you know, I'm doing spaces every day. We release a secondary collection, and boom, I'm a Web3 full time.
That's awesome, man. That's super awesome. That's a crazy story too, by the way.
Sorry, man. I know it's kind of long.
Yeah, no. You live quite the life. You live quite the life, man. That's awesome. So, I'm super curious. So, I'm a little not. I'm unaware, a little ignorant to the gaming NFT, because when you say gaming NFT, I think of like how on like Apex or Call of Duty, you have a gun and you buy that gun, and that's similar to like owning an NFT. That's that digital art or that special unique item. And then I know in like different MMOs, there are some NFT like components where you find this rare item, and then you can use the cryptocurrency as the actual in-game currency as well, and
Yeah,
buy and trade these items. Is it similar to that? Because what you just said sounds a little bit different. Like you had a character and a blade that was the actual NFT, and then is it in a game world that you're doing that, right?
So
Or
it's funny,
yeah,
man. It was super primitive what this
okay,
was, and like play to earn has gone through like a funny phase, right? So like Crypto Blades, the game, and actually Infinity was probably like the first play to earn game, or arguably Crypto Kitties, but that's probably an entire show topic in
yeah,
itself.
yeah,
Um, but Crypto Blades was the one that really had the insane run that kicked off an entire meta of where all kinds of people started releasing play to earn games. And what it was is you went to go mint a fighter, and like mint is you're just the first owner of the NFT, and then you would go mint a weapon, and then there were four classes. It was water, earth, lightning, or fire. So like
mm,
water, it was like rock paper scissors. Water would beat fire, fire would beat earth, and and so on. So like if you had a firefighter, no pun intended, and a fire sword, you got a bonus when you went to go battle. And then like when you went to go fight, it was really just like, all right, I'm gonna click this fighter and select them. I'm gonna click this sword and select them, and then it would give me four monsters to choose from. And if I have a firefighter again, and there's a earth monster, I'm gonna get an extra bonus against him. But if there's a water monster, I'm gonna get a negative, strike against me. And so really all I would do is click the fighter, click the weapon, click the monster I want to fight. It would run the transaction through the blockchain. And if I won, I was rewarded crypto. And so like it wasn't fun, right? Like you wouldn't do it if you weren't making money, but
yeah,
like it was just a massive overcompensation because we never made money playing video games before.
yeah,
But it wasn't sustainable, right? Like it was a Ponzi in its purest form. I was just early. So like
yeah.
uh
All the
you know their
benefits.
their their token was skill, so like if I fought a monster and I won, I'd earn skill token. And then if you wanted to create a fighter or create a weapon, you would create them with skill tokens. So like as long as there were players coming in, there was it was going to be a cycle. But again, like me and a couple other people figured out that, hey, they're paying out more than they're taking in. This isn't going to last too much longer. So I was able to get out near the top. And so then you had kind of an effort to go towards games that were sustainable. but then again, there was no fun capability to it. So like, yeah, it might be sustainable and you might have an okay idea, but nobody really wants to play it anyway. So like you're not going to be able to grow outside this little player base. So in the end, it's really not sustainable. And now what we're seeing is some for real legit game creators like Lucky Cat Studio. They sold for 70 million. They created a blockchain game, then they're in the process of creating it. Or there's a game called BR1 Metaverse. It's a first person shooter. You pay to spawn. You pay $1 to spawn. Every time you kill somebody, you get their dollar or 10% of what they accumulated. They've sold a gaming company for 10 million before. Like they're legit players. Or actually go back and listen to today's episode. I brought on a football game that's kind of like I don't know if you remember Blitz, or like it's like Blitz slash NBA Jam type style,
Yeah.
but it's a 4-on-4 football game that's play to earn. So now it's almost a necessity that you have to have the fun factor paired with the sustainability. So you like my game, the crypto version Monopoly, is going to be based about an in-game token, but I've got a lot of burn mechanisms. Like the play of the game, you're naturally a lot of tokens are going to be built are burned. But like with this football game, for example, they're licensed by the NFL Player Association. So like if you have Travis Kelce, you play games, you earn points, you can upgrade Travis Kelce the same way you would in Madden, upgrade his speed, catching ability, whatever you want. And then down the line, you could sell him on the secondary market. And like the way I explained it, right? Like I grew up poor, so like if I'd have to grab the cheap NFT, level it up, but the rich kid across the tracks, he probably just wants to kick everybody's ass day one. So he'll just come in and buy the upgraded NFT. So like that's kind of the future of Web3 gaming, to where like you can have a token and have a realistic what I call a token sink, a in-game reason to spend it. Or like the best thing is just to have points that can upgrade these NFTs that are used in game, and I can sell it to the next person that wants to come in and doesn't want to put the work in.
Yeah, that's super cool. That's super cool. I really like also the concept. I play more shooters, so I'm immediately drawn to the idea of that first person shooter game. Paying $1 to get in, and then 10%.
That's one of my biggest not one, it's one of my biggest NFT bags actually. I've been super bullish on them. I minted 25 of them when they dropped, and I've accumulated a few more along the way. If I get some quote unquote legendaries hit for cheap, I'll scoop them up. I kind of watch for it. But like that, granted, free tip for you and anybody listening. I don't know when this goes live, but next month, November or December, their game is supposed to be live, and right now their floor price is like 3.5 Solana. I could see them running up to 100 Solana, because you need the NFT to play the game. But then if you own the NFT, you can lend it out to other people to play. So like they could play, like they can rent it from you for a daily rate or a split of the profits and stuff.
Oh, you could rent it out.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting. If people just want to try it, you could rent it out and then they pay you. Oh, do you agree upon the daily rate, or is there, I guess the free market will decide what that should be?
Yeah, pretty much. Like I think it's gonna be and granted the game's not live yet, but kind of from what I've seen, it looks like you'll be able to like list and be like, hey, this is my NFT, and this is the daily rate, or this is the profit split. Because there's different, like the rarer ones might have faster speed, better aim, whatever it is in game. Like I suck at shooters, so I'm probably not gonna play it because I don't like to lose money. But like like I plan on having some that I lend out, and then I want to hire a team of people that are good and be like, yeah, I'll pay you $15 an hour to play a shooter. And, I expect you guys to play 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day, and then an hour of practice, and fucking like run it like a business.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be super awesome. Get a few college kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a win-win
Have
for
them on
everybody.
rotation. When do you not have classes? All right. This is what you're doing today.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
I was actually gonna post to one of the neighborhood Facebook groups looking for like high school kids, but I was like, man, I don't want to be like the weird dude like looking for high school kids to go over.
Yeah, you want to be creepy like that. Yeah.
And like paying like 15-20 bucks an hour sounds like too good to be true, but when you factor in the math, if like you're good, you're gonna beat that hourly.
Oh yeah, for sure. For definitely. Oh, there's the crazy kids on Twitch that are just like play professionally or doing just blow up instantly. Oh yeah, that's the first thing that I was thinking about. Is like, oh sorry, yeah, I was.
So when I look at my friends, go ahead, you go ahead, my friend, bro.
You're good.
I'll hit my one inner.
Got it. Well, I was thinking when these kids these kids are already making a killing just because it's so impressive to watch them. If they're also streaming a game where they're making money by killing people, I mean, just the potential of the earnings there for a lot of these professional gamers. I mean, they might pivot immediately.
I
You
think
know,
so.
yeah, yeah, and that could build upon itself really rapidly, or even just the high stakes of it makes it that much more intense, and that much it has that draw and appeal behind it of like, yeah, oh man,
Yeah,
it's gonna
and
be
it's like
cool.
poker, right? Because you have your low stakes, and like right now they're starting as at $1, but eventually you'll get like the real beasts that come in, and like they'll play $100 a kill, you know,
Yeah.
and it'll be like some shit that like is like I'd watch that shit. I'd be like, damn, this dude just won like 10 G's today. Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the viewability of that is
yeah.
really, really high if you're gonna have a tournament or something. That's cool. I can talk about
Imagine
that
high
for a
stakes
while.
poker, but with gaming.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that concept. I love that idea. That's really cool. I have to dig
Yeah, so
into.
I would definitely obviously not financial advice to anybody, but I definitely do scoop off secondary and I do hold some. So it's I recommend that to anybody interested in getting into gaming as one of my likes.
Yeah, that was the company. What's the company called again?
It's
Secondary?
called BR1 Infinite. If you look up BR1 on Magic Eden, the main Solana platform, you'll definitely see them.
All right. Yeah. I need to look into that more. I'm so busy because with what I do, day trading and stuff, I gotta track. It's hard for me to be really in tune to everything I need to be in tune with the market and stuff, and then also
Mhm.
keep track of these NFT projects, which is why. I mean, you're the first of a few people that I was like, okay, I've been following these people, watching all their stuff. It's super interesting, and I need to start taking some deeper dives into this because
Yeah,
it's so cool, man. This is a future for
it
sure.
it is,
Yeah,
man. It is,
yeah,
and that's that's just there's so much going on. And like what I tell people too, they're like, oh, are you a day trader? And I'm like, no, I'm not the best trader in the world. I'm familiar enough with the market that I can recognize spots to make money, off the volatility. But like that's not my necessarily game. Like like that's I'll play it when the opportunity presents itself. I'm a little more dialed into NFTs because I'm more in the space daily.
yeah.
And NFTs are almost honestly a hedge against the asset since right now Solana NFTs are outperforming the whole market. So like that's what I'm playing in right now. But then there was a period where I was on the sideline in NFTs and only swing trading and stuff like that. And like that's the beauty of Web3 because we have all these tools in our belt. You can spot some trades to make. You can make some NFT flips. You can have your long-term plays. You can yield farm, loan your assets out and make interest off them and stuff. So like there's just so many tools in your belt to make money in Web3. That's what's so amazing about it.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. So Solana's still Solana's outperforming Ethereum in the NFT market, even the post Ethereum merger as
Oh, it's
well. Yeah,
crushing.
crushing.
I
Interesting.
think Solana might be at all-time highs, or it was rolling in on them on transactions. Um, and it's mostly driven by NFT transactions. So like it's the NFT space. I'm interested in all blockchains, but 95% of what I do with NFTs is on Solana just because I feel like the coolest stuff is being built there right now.
That's cool. Do you feel that shifting with do you feel like that's going to shift with the trends that have been picking up, or do you feel?
Um, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing Ethereum NFT whales come to Solana, and I'm not seeing it the other way around.
Hmm,
So I think Ethereum has its place, but like when you hear Ethereum people talk about like stuff with NFTs, they're always like 2 months behind of what we're talking about on Solana. And like there's really just like it's attracting the best builders. You're having the games built out on it. You're having all kinds of just the best DAOs and processes and all that stuff are really just being built on Solana. I think Ethereum will see a lot of corporate money flow into it because they'll view it as more stable because it's been around longer and it's got more liquidity too. And when you're talking billions, liquidity is an issue for sure.
yeah, but if you're talking about most of the attention and attractions going to Solana, that could easily shift. That
True.
liquidity starts moving. Yeah. Yeah, because
Yeah,
it follows. It could be slow, but it follows.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah.
And like Solana's kind of my pick to start the next bull run. You know, like Chainlink kind of started this one, and I think Solana is really going to start the next one because we're going to see a lot of NFT activity on the chain, and like eventually, I think the market's going to catch up with it. And there's been a lot of over-the-counter Ethereum money moving to Solana that hasn't affected the price really. So um, I think there's a lot that could cause it to run up, you know, next bull run. It had a great run that, you know, this last bull run. I believe we've been in a bear market for a few months, but yeah, I do believe like I wrote an entire thread on why I believe Solana will flip BNB and Ethereum.
Wow. Okay. That's really interesting. What do you have we've got a few people in my Discord group that are really big on Cardano. Do you have any interest in the Cardano blockchain? Does it appeal to you at all?
So I do hold some Cardano. I
Mhm.
bought my Cardano in like late 2017, early 2018. And I was super big on it then because it was supposed to be the Ethereum killer and it was supposed to it was supposed to just, you know, be the next level thing. And then it just never really happened. And then this next bull run came around and it got a little excitement, but then like they finally got smart contracts and they didn't work. And then they you know they do have an NFT market, and I have been looking at it, and I had given up on them, but then I gave them a second chance, I met the guys from JPEG Store, which is our main marketplace. I met them in NFT NYC. They came on Crypto and Coffee before. So I liked what they were building out as far as a store, and I thought that I think that can have a good impact. And I truly believe that Cardano is playing the long game, and like they're gonna do shit right. And I think they're gonna be a big winner, but probably not as soon as somebody like me would hope, right? Like if I was somebody that was not in Web3 on a daily basis and just kind of wanted to throw some money at something, and in the next 5 to 10 years, know it's gonna be worth a fuck ton, Cardano would be one of my spots. Now for me, there's the opportunity cost because I think I can multiply my money other spots faster. But I'm still bullish on Cardano long term because Charles Hoskinson, their leader, he's speaking before Congress. You're not seeing the Solana devs brought before Congress. You're not seeing Ethereum brought before Congress. You're seeing Charles Hoskinson. So that makes me feel like they're going to be ahead of the curve. And then some legit whales that I consider mentors of mine. They believe a lot of corporate money is going to fly to Cardano, and probably for similar reasons. So that's what makes me bullish on it, but it's not on my accumulation list right now. I might accumulate a little when it hits the bottom, but I think it's going to bleed a lot more, and I think a lot of stuff is going to outperform it in the meantime. And like it might not even see its true heyday until like the bull run after the next bull run. In my opinion, it could be
Yeah.
that long for real.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're thinking about the storylines, you know, with the .com crash, you know, someone like Amazon, which is, you know, name brand, everyone knows what Amazon is, but it crashed 50%, 4 or 5
Yeah.
times after 2000 before people realized how incredible it was. Cardano's a name that stuck out. I the idea of corporations really liking Cardano just seems really appealing to me because when you're from an institutional standpoint, when you're doing the research on something, Cardano is the one that really draws the eye just because they did so much research or so many research papers based on the
Yeah.
development of everything. Yeah. So that's really I like that idea. I made a note of it actually because
Yeah, it is a good
yeah,
one, right? And like I've traded the price action a little bit, but
there's not much there though, really. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's really no. Honestly, we were like shorted it.
Yeah.
Oh, I did get a nice shorted on Cardano just because
Okay.
like, oh man, I want to say it was like 60 cents or some shit. There was a good short in there,
Yeah.
um, but I short Bitcoin and Solana too, right? Like I just look for plays.
Yeah, whatever you can get. How are you feeling about the market, the overall crypto market right now? Are you feeling like we got a few more months of this bearishness, or like what
Yeah,
is that? And do you think that sentiment is, sorry to interrupt you, but do you think that sentiment is also reflected in the community?
I think as a whole, the community is kind of bearish right now, but I think a lot of people that are still active are bullish long term. You know,
Yeah.
like it's not like the hype. And then also when Bitcoin pumps or the market pumps, you can see a different type of hype online and a different amount of people interacting and seeing what's going on. But I have access to some groups where you have software that analyzes on-chain data, and based on that and just fundamental analysis, like I think we got quite a bit of bleeding to do before we see a true bottom. I'm eyeing like February as close to the bottom. It might not be the exact bottom, but that's kind of where my bear market accumulation list will be activated, and I'll start accumulating stuff right there. So I think we still got some more, but like the thing is, like there's plenty of opportunity in the space to make money. I think the Solana NFT market for probably another 4 to 6 weeks will strongly outperform the rest of the market. And then we'll probably see like a correlation to where it kind of pulls off or falls off, and maybe even falls harder than the rest of the market. But as of right now, I think that's probably the best spot to make money in the market, to be honest.
That's interesting. So like the first thing that stands out in my mind is that adds up with my market analysis a lot. It's like my
Really?
long-term macro thesis. Yeah. I
Damn.
expect because I expect the Federal Reserve, um, if you look at the euro dollars, which is US dollars uh, that are invested in foreign markets. So you can look at the futures on there to try and estimate when they think that the Federal Reserve is likely to pivot on their policy, which would mean, obviously
Hmm.
when everything went crazy is when the Federal Reserve was printing money and they weren't in this tightening cycle. So that pivot is priced right at that point. So
Damn.
I think it's really interesting that you're seeing kind of like the same game plan that we're kind of expecting on a macro thesis at Nobel Trading, because that's what we're looking at. It's like, okay, probably an election rally, relief rally, and then likely some new lows next year as they continue to tighten. So that's really interesting. Just from watching the crypto market, you've kind of come to the same thesis as well, because I expect there to still be some tight correlation between the two. Although I would
Yeah.
love to see that break and decouple some more, because I mean,
Hmm.
there's the potential for Bitcoin and everything is just all right. Just even Bitcoin, not even all the cool projects that can be built on all the different blockchains, is so huge and so exciting.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I don't think it's gonna. Yeah, I want to hear your reaction to this, but I don't think it's going to be like the .com era, where we have to wait a decade or 2 decades for a lot of these projects to come to fruition. I think it's gonna be a lot quicker,
Oh,
at least twice as fast, at least twice as fast.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
so too. And you have to remember though, like Bitcoin's a decade old.
yeah,
So I think we're rolling into what that true boom should be after a real, because I think it takes about a decade of this new type of technology to figure out the best way to use it, because you don't know what you don't know. Like Bitcoin was brilliant and is brilliant, but then like Satoshi didn't know that other people would want to build on top of a blockchain and do cool shit. So like
yeah,
boom, here comes Ethereum. And like Ethereum VB, their founder, he didn't wasn't able to predict all these other things like yield farming, Plato, and gaming, and all this stuff that's going to drive up the transaction rate and the gas cost and all that stuff. So like it wasn't designed best to scale. So now you have these other blockchains that they're like, well, we're going to focus on this in particular and be the best at this, and this we're going to be the best at this. And so Ethereum kind of does everything, but then you got other blockchains that like they do one particular thing better. And now you're seeing people build cool stuff on top of those particular blockchains as well. So we're kind of at that phase to where like we really figured out, hey, this technology is cool. Now this is what we can do with it. Now let's do it.
yeah,
And so like I think that's what this next bull run is gonna be, is highlighting like, yeah, we've got all the stupid shit out of the way. Like it just like, Bitcoin is like we kind of fully understand that, yeah, Bitcoin is a store of value because now we have countries backing it and shit. And now we understand that like NFTs are more than just like monkey JPEGs. There's this cool underlying technology of what it's really about, and that's the real use case you're investing in. Um, so I think that's going to be a big thing to where you'll see these massive corporations come in, and they'll have people using blockchain without realizing they're using blockchain. And I think DraftKings is a perfect example. The fantasy sports, they've released DraftKings Supreme, and you buy these packs of cards, and then like those are your NFTs that you'll be able to use and matchups throughout this year and probably next year too, it sounds like. So and like that, and like they just make the interaction so seamless to where you don't know you're using a blockchain necessarily. You're just buying a pack of cards that you can use over and over again. Similar to how they do in Madden and stuff. You can buy franchise players, and you own them to compete online with. So I think when it gets seamlessly integrated and people are using all this stuff without realizing they're on blockchain, that's when we're going to see the real explosion. But that happens with us building cool shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really cool. Okay, so I want to we're getting close to an hour, and I don't want to, take up your whole afternoon.
All good,
So
homie.
I got one question that's kind of off topic because I think about it all the time. Now I get, and I think most people get the bridge between taking this to gaming or taking this to collectibles and even some of the art stuff, or even using NFT for a piece of art. But how frequently do you run into people actually conversing over, oh, NFTs could be the future of insurance, or the future of legalities, or the future of like elections where all the voting's done on the blockchain? How much talk are using the DOAs for basically the construction of society and the things that we do already? Is there a lot of belief that that is the future, to just basically import everything, or is everyone just like, it's just gaming right now, chill?
So I'm actually involved in a lot of those conversations, to be real. And granted, I'm in the space daily. Sorry, my computer's over here freaking out for a second.
You're good.
But yeah, so like I'm connected with real estate agents that are building stuff out, or within my project. One of our down the line parts of the future roadmap is we want to buy properties and turn it into an Airbnb type thing, or a timeshare to where your NFT represents a week there throughout the year. So if you want it, you can use it and stay, or if you want to sell it on the open market for whatever, you have the opportunity to do that. And then we have you probably see on there, you have a January Walker. She's a friend of Coffee and Crypto, and she's running for Congress in Utah, and she's very pro blockchain and Web3 and pushing blockchain voting. And Utah actually used blockchain voting last year. So like I'm seeing that a lot now. Unless you look for it, you're probably not going to find it. A lot of these people in NFTs, they're still on like the childish phase of JPEGs, and like gaming. I'm not gonna say childish because that is a real use case, but like they're kind of getting involved in that. But like the like part of our collection is gonna be called Coffee and Crypto, the Crypto Congress. And so a portion of all royalties are gonna go to support pro blockchain candidates, even worldwide. And those holders will be able to vote on the candidates that we're going to support. And then we're also going to organize events, virtual and live, and those holders will be airdropped NFT tickets. And if they want to attend the event, they can, or they can, sell on a market for somebody that wants to attend the event with these blockchain politicians we're assembling. So we're doing it, man. We're making it happen.
Yeah, that's awesome. The Airbnb is gonna hate that concept. And they either, because they're going to get on board, or they're going to get obliterated, because that's beautiful to have that NFT idea where it's basically more of a timeshare even than even just calling it Airbnb. Because timeshares, I think holistically are, just horrible deals.
Yeah, it's a negative investment for sure.
But if it's an NFT, the way that relationship could be a lot healthier, and that could be a booming business.
And then we want to buy a property too, and have like it be NFT that represents like shares of it, let a family live in it, and then give them a nice chunk of the shares, since they're going to be paying the rent. And then we just have the agreement, and the smart contract is a group that, we're going to sell this property, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, for X amount of dollars. and everybody gets their portion. And then that family, even that lived in it and paid like a rent to own scenario type scenario for that amount of years, they're gonna get their share too. So like that's gonna be our way of kind of paying it forward through Web3 with kind of the success we've been able to have.
That's awesome. That's it. This the ability to provide all that value back to the community and the people who also participated in it is just so, you know, forget GoFundMe and Patreon. Like, you know, this is just good. Everything's just going to be built in and integrated where like everyone
Yeah.
benefits. We're all on the same path. That's a beautiful thing. That's so exciting just to even think about all the endless possibilities. Yeah. Like, thank you so much for talking to me, man. Like, I appreciate
Oh
it.
man, thank you for having me on. We got to
Yeah.
link in person sometime here soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, and you know, we're almost about an hour, so we'll go ahead and call it there. But let's do another one of these, and
Definitely.
yeah, let's keep in touch, man. And
Yeah.
have a great rest of your day, dude. Thanks.
Oh, thank you, bro. I appreciate you having me on.